It's time to go to my homeland, guys. We're going to the Southeast. We are visiting Savannah, Georgia today, and this trip was submitted by Wendy. You can find Wendy at Firefly Crystal Studio. So she listens to the podcast and that she loves to make jewelry. So check out her Instagram page, guys.
I am so excited to be highlighting anything in Georgia. Georgia is my first love. What I love so much about Savannah is it's so different from North Georgia. North Georgia mountains are a totally different vibe than Savannah. Savannah reminds me more of like New Orleans, the live
Yes.
moss and that humidity, and it just has this ancient vibe to it. I don't know how to describe it. I love it. I have been once as a teenager. But it is actually fun to have it be back on my radar for a trip as an adult.
Yeah, so Wendy totally agrees. And what she said is the reason that people should visit is it's quaint. It's a walkable southern town with so much to see and do. You don't necessarily need to rent a car, just get a ride to your hotel from the airport, and then you can walk around to restaurants and enjoy things for a weekend. This is not somewhere that you probably need to stay for a week. This is a really great weekend destination.
Yeah. She said the time of year that she went was the beginning of May. She said it was really nice weather. And she went a number of years ago with her daughter's Girl Scout troop as well during August, but it was very, very hot. So she's recommending spring or fall. And I definitely agree. I went over the summer as well. That heat is a drippy, thick heat. If you're
Oppressive.
not, yes, it is. If you're not used to it, if you've not experienced that kind of heat, you're not going to have an enjoyable time.
Yeah, it is something else. Muggy and mosquitoes. Let me just put those 2 M's out
Oh,
there. But it
mosquitoes.
is a
Blech.
lovely place. It's a lovely place, but if you can go in the fall or the spring, then that's probably or the winter, maybe a great January trip if you live somewhere really cold and snowy and you just wanna get away somewhere a little bit warmer, then this could be a great little weekend getaway destination. So for Wendy, she flew from Baltimore and she has Southwest Companion Pass. So from Baltimore, it was a really easy flight and it was 2 people round trip for only 25,500 points. Now that she has a
Wow.
companion pass, but that's
That's
not too
great.
many points to drop for a weekend getaway.
Not at all. And can I just take this moment to say RIP to free bags for non-card holders?
Oh, RIP. We
Yeah.
miss you. I will remember you.
You will remember
Obviously
me.
not. Okay,
Except they won't.
Southwest. You did not remember us.
You did not remember us. What are you doing? Stabbing me in the heart repeatedly. Good thing I only use carry-ons.
That's right.
But still, it's just rude. Anyways, moving on. Talking about where to stay, I love this because I don't feel like we get a lot of recommendations for some of the fancier or more unique Hyatt brands. So she stayed at the Hyatt Andaz and she booked this with 2 free night certificates because it's a category 4. And then the third night
Great use of those.
she did with 18,000. Oh, so good. 18,000 Hyatt points is what she used for that third night, and she said the hotel was just amazing. They had a pool, they had bikes that you could borrow in the lobby, which is that for me is such a seller. That is a
It
selling
really
point. Sign me
is.
up right now.
I have booked hotels specifically for that reason. If they have free bike rentals, I love that. And that's perfect in Savannah. The Andaz is in the historic district, which is definitely where you want to stay, whether you choose to stay at the Andaz or something else. It's right on the Ellis Square, which has a lot going on. And it's really close to all the dining, all the shopping, historic sites, all of that good stuff. There's a beautiful river walk we'll talk about here in a minute. So it's in a really prime location for visiting Savannah.
Yeah, it looks amazing. As far as activities, can't miss activities. She said they did a tour with Gentile and Bards. It was their Savannah history walking tour. She said it was absolutely excellent and bookable through Viator/Rakuten. Get those points. I love history walking tours. Absolutely love. She also said they did a Ghosts and Gravestones trolley tour, which she also booked through Viator. She said they weren't that impressed with this tour, but they aren't really ghost people. So, as the resident alien lover, fantasy book reader, I love a ghost tour. I'm not sure I buy into ghosts, but it's just really fun for me to hear all the lore.
Okay, yeah, the ghost stories. I was a skittish kid, scaredy cat. I had no interest in hearing ghost stories, but I know so many people do, including my husband.
Oh, I have so much fun with it. No fear at all, and not sure I believe, but I just find all of that stuff so, so fascinating.
Okay, so another activity you can do, you can walk through Forsyth Park, which is free. There's an iconic fountain there that's very beautiful. And if you happen to be there on a weekend, on Saturdays, they have artists, they have food vendors there, which is just a really nice outdoor vibe. They also went to the American Prohibition Museum, which they bought tickets for through Viator. And that is just literally a few steps away from the hotel.
Okay, we will be back to the episode in just a minute, but we wanted to take a quick break to tell you about the sponsor of this episode, which is our beloved card pointers, you guys. And we are hitting another one of the amazing features of this app. Truly, I feel like the sky is the limit with this app. It's always growing, there's always more things that it can do. But today, we're going to be talking about their browser extension, which is such a game changer.
Yeah, even if you don't use every feature that Card Pointers offers because there's truly so much, even if you just use the browser extension to activate your card linked offers, that alone makes it worth it because you can save so much money by making sure you're using those offers and not leaving money on the table. But it's also really perfect for people who are really paranoid, not paranoid because you should be concerned, but concerned about your bank logins. It's so safe and simple. They do not know your passwords. So it's really, I just feel good about it. Like they don't know, they know enough information to be super helpful, but they don't know too much information.
Another thing that this app does that I love so, so much is they help you keep track of your minimum spends and your credits. And because they don't have your login information, these are things that you track manually, but there is a spot for each thing. So if you are working on a minimum spend on your credit card, there's a little slider, which I love because that's for whatever reason, that's very fun for me to slide that up. So anytime I work towards my minimum spend, I move my slider up to that dollar amount underneath the card and card pointers. And I especially love this for Amex that does not have a little tracker telling me where I'm at in my minimum spends with their cards, which is very frustrating. I also like that I can go in and see if I've used my credits for the month. When I go use my DoorDash or my Grubhub or my Uber Eats or a Resi credit, I go straight into my card and card pointers and I click that little bubble so that I know at the end of the month, did I use this yet? Because I truly forget almost instantly with my little
Yeah.
goldfish brain.
I was using the welcome offer tracker just this week because I have a Chase card that I'm working on a welcome offer for and I don't like to log in. It's still hard for me to always find the tracker and
Mhm.
calculate up how much money I've spent. Like, am I close to hitting my welcome offer? So I was doing that this week. I went ahead and moved over the tracker and it was kind of fun. So if you want to try this out, go over to cardpointers.com/Wonderland on points because you are a friend of the pod. You will get 30% off, or if there's a sale, it will be listed there. So cardpointers.com/Wonderland on points. This is the app that can do it all for you, and we use it.
We sure do. We would never tell you to buy anything that we wouldn't buy ourselves, you guys, because we love you. And now let's get back to the episode.
She also said they walked on the Savannah River Walk with lots of cute shops and restaurants and candy shops. Okay, guys, I first had a praline when I went to Savannah, and I have been obsessed with pralines ever since. I swear nowhere makes them like Savannah, Georgia, because I have yet to replicate my experience of tasting a praline for the first time in Savannah. I've never had anything quite as delicious.
I have to say, I'm not a big nuts person, but pecan pralines I do really love. And this is going to be good. I'm glad that you said this, that nothing rivals it because earlier in the show, you mentioned that Savannah gives you a New Orleans vibe. They're very similar cities, and New Orleans is the other place that I have had pecan pralines. And me and you, we're going to New Orleans in October for the Travel More conference. So we're going to see. We're going to have to get you some pralines there and see how they compare in your heart and in your mind to Savannah's.
I will report back, everybody. I'm so excited to have, hopefully, an as delicious pecan praline. Miss Pecan over here.
It's a pecan praline,
Tell us
girl.
in the Facebook group how you say the word pecan. Not pecans. Do you say pecan pie? Have
I
we had
say
this
both.
conversation
We
before?
have had this conversation before, and I say both variations of the word depending on what's following it up. So I might say I
That's
like
right.
pecans, but I have said pecan pie in my life and I've said pecan pie in my life. So I have kind of gone both ways on that. But growing up in South Carolina, I said a lot more pecan than I said pecan.
I love it. She also mentioned that the prior trip, the Girl Scouts trip that we mentioned earlier, before Points and Miles, that they visited the Juliet Gordon Low birthplace. That is the founder of Girl Scouts. So if you have a Girl Scout in your life, that might be a fun place to take them. The first headquarters is there. There's also the Savannah College of Art and Design Museum of Art, which is fun, the Pirate's House, which is a restaurant, and apparently a day trip to Tybee Island is a great choice, which sounds very fun to me. Let's talk about the food because Savannah is known for incredible Southern food.
Oh, yeah. You're going to gain 10 pounds when you go to Savannah, for sure. If you didn't do it right.
Yes, that's my kind of trip. We're starting with breakfast at the Collins Quarter. Apparently, their coffee is wonderful, and that's what I like to hear. I love a good cup of coffee. And she said the food is great as well. For lunch, we're going to the Old Pink House, which is an adorable historic home with the cutest name ever. I'm sold. If you want to eat in the formal restaurant, the Old Pink House, you do need a reservation, but you can eat in the pub, the Arches, which is inside, but not the formal restaurant. So I guess it's more of like a walk in, sit down at the bar kind of a place, is the vibe that I'm getting. She said the food and the ambiance are amazing. They put them in a little private wine cellar room with candles, which is so special. Apparently, it isn't usually open, but it was a Kentucky Derby weekend and they were expecting crowds. So, what a fun happenstance. That would be so exciting and cute and romantic.
Oh, yeah. And that's a fun weekend to be in Savannah because even though the Kentucky Derby is happening obviously in Kentucky, Southern people love a good reason to party with little hats on. So there was a whole Kentucky Derby street party, she said, going on outside the restaurant. So that's a fun little thing that you didn't plan for, when you plan a trip to go somewhere. It's really fun when things just work out and you end up being there on like a lively weekend.
Oh, I would absolutely love this. That would be such a fun kind of tandem experience to feel like you're part of the excitement. So I would really like that. She said the she crab soup there is delicious. So that is something she recommends. There's a few more options that I think you should take us through.
Yeah, so I just looked up a couple other restaurants with really high reviews that people love. One of them is called The Gray. This is a restaurant that's in an old 1938 Greyhound bus terminal. So there's a ton of history in Savannah. I love things that have a story, things that date back with some history. So that could be a fun little restaurant option for you. And then Leopold's Ice Cream, that goes all the way back to 1919, has the vintage soda fountain vibe, and could be a fun little stop for the afternoon to get some ice cream to cool you off if it is one of those muggy, warm Savannah days.
I mean, these sound so fun. I want to go right now. I'm actually so excited for New Orleans because I feel like it's going to have such a similar vibe. But I who knew that I was going to want to go back to Savannah? I think because I was stuck at a youth group camp most of the time when I was there, I didn't get to really experience the city enough to make me want to visit again. So it's been revived in me.
Yeah, my dad goes to Savannah somewhat regularly. I don't know why, but I feel like every time I call home, they're like, "Oh, he's in Savannah for this conference or that conference or something." But last time I went to Savannah was in college, and I remember going with a girlfriend, and she really loved at the time. Now, college was a long time ago for me now, guys. Paula Deen at the time. And so she wanted to go eat at Paula Deen's restaurant down there in Savannah. So I remember we did that. I remember going along the river walk and really enjoying it.
She wraps up saying that what surprised her about Savannah is that it just seems so lively. There's so much happening in the squares at night. She said there was an outdoor concert one night with multiple musicians, and it was close to the Andaz. So that does lead me to wonder if you were traveling with small children, if you wanted to really enforce sleep schedules and bedtimes. I don't know what the noise level's like in the hotel. This might be one of those places where you're hearing the lively things happening out on the streets and in the squares. And I have no way of really knowing, but think about that. I know that some people really like to stay on their sleep schedules when they travel. Other people are like throwing bedtime to the wind. So I think you would want to consider bringing a sound machine if you don't like to hear nighttime noise, but it just sounds lively and lovely.
It does. And I can't let us end this episode. I know it doesn't speak to you, but as a sports fan, I don't think there's ever been a time that Savannah and the name Savannah has ever been more famous than it is right now with the Savannah Bananas baseball team. So Joe is looking at
Even
me like,
I have
what are you?
seen them on Instagram. No, I've
Oh,
seen them.
good. Okay. So even if it has reached Joe, then
Yes.
everybody knows who the Savannah Bananas are. And that story and how that team started and turned around from literally nothing down in Savannah to what it is, it will be a worldwide sensation eventually. I guarantee it. I watch so many K-dramas over in South Korea. They love their baseball. I bet before long there will be a Savannah Bananas world tour that includes other countries. Right now they're touring the United States. They're playing in massive football stadiums, which is just crazy. But they originated right there in Savannah. So I bet
So
there's some
funny.
really fun Savannah Banana merchandise and things in that area. There's no way you can get tickets. It's impossible. But I think if you have a little baseball fan, then probably kids are loving Savannah right now because of that.
Yeah, actually, that is so funny. I didn't even think of that. But if the algorithm has presented me with any Savannah Banana content, me who likes and watches zero sports, they must be something. All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming along on another summer road trip mini. We are having the best time doing these. You can still submit them. They may go past the summer. I know I keep saying that, and I kind of think we could make these go forever. It seems like there are limitless destinations and people are loving them. So submit them.
Okay, guys, have a great week.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this show today, please consider writing us a review or clicking 5 stars wherever you listen to your podcasts. And please subscribe and follow along so that you never miss an episode.
You can follow the podcast on Instagram or YouTube at Wonderland on Points Podcast. You can find me on Instagram at Family Travel for the Win with the number 4.
And you can find me on Instagram at Points to Wonderland.
If you're thinking about getting a new Travel Rewards credit card, consider using the links in our show notes. Using our links helps to support us and keep our podcast going so we can provide you with all the latest tips and tricks when it comes to traveling on points.
And if you aren't sure which card is right for you, shoot us an email at wonderlandonpoints@gmail.com. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you here next time.